Welcome back to Lucore Automotive Services. Today I spent the entire day driving around in my 1994 Chevrolet 3500 HD rollback. Had some errands to run, and as luck would have it, I was at home eating lunch and getting ready to move my Buick over into storage for the winter. And one of my customers called me, Mr. Mills, with this 2003 Chevrolet S10, and he's like, "Hey, what's your warranty on your parts?" I'm like, "I don't know, why are you asking?" And he said, "Well, my car's over at Tuffy and it started to overheat and they're saying it needs a radiator." I'm like, "Well, if we just put a radiator in it a year and a half ago, what caused the radiator to pop?" And he's like, "Ooh, that's a good question." I'm like, "I can warranty the parts, but I have to see it. Why don't we get it over to my shop so that we can assess it and figure out what's going on?" He's like, "That's an amazing idea. That sounds great." So I went over and picked it up. And let me get it off the truck. It runs. I fired it up over at the Tuffy, and doesn't misfire. It doesn't have any. It's got an engine light on, which isn't surprising. But I figure I'll scan it, check for misfires. It probably needs an intake manifold gasket, which probably let the coolant get low, and it probably cooked the radiator out of it. But let's get it apart and see what's going on. Let me get it unloaded. P0155 O2 heater circuit, bank 2 sensor 1. So we're going to need an O2 sensor most likely. We'll have to run through diagnostic on that, but most common failure for that code is a O2 sensor failure. Let's look at misfires real quick. Crisp clean startup. As far as misfires are concerned, 72,213 miles. This car is just a baby. Well, I can pretty much guarantee it needs a lower intake manifold gasket. This one doesn't have a rotted out filler neck. We have a bunch of fluid here, which is interesting. We've got fluid here and everywhere around that area there. And we're dripping out on the ground. So that is definitely a radiator issue. Let's see what's going on down there. Let me grab my 10mm and an extension. We'll pull the shroud out of the way and verify. We have new hoses on it. Radiator doesn't look like it was replaced though. Have to check our customer history and see. Radiator hoses were definitely changed. It is not a factory radiator, so it has been changed. A lot of wet down here. Where's it popped at? Pull the ends out of the tubes? Sure does look like it. It's a strange failure. Let's put some water in it and see what it does. It is really coming out of there. I would say that's going to be a pretty easy thing to find. I'm going to say the side tank's split. Let's pull the air box out and we'll see. It doesn't normally need a screw there, guys. It's weird. Don't see it. It's definitely leaking out of the intake manifold gaskets. I'll discuss doing that with the fella. See right down there in that corner, it's wet where coolant's leaking out, and that can actually allow coolant to get into the oil and kill the engine, which is what we don't want to have happen. So I'll go ahead and switch the radiator out. I have one here so that I can pressurize the system, check the rest of the stuff out, and then we can get the guy scheduled in for the intake manifold gasket, unless he wants me to do it tomorrow. Well, I decided to just turn this thing around and whip this thing out. Shouldn't be too hard to do. These are pretty straightforward. 4 clips for oil and transmission cooler lines, and then 2 hoses, and it'll be out of here. So get it out of the way. Now we save all these little clips because they always go flying off into the Neverland. Like that one just did. Alright, let's get a bucket under here. So it's very important on these modern cars with these plastic tanks that you use these spring hose clamps, because they expand and contract with thermal heat cycles, and when you put a worm clamp on these plastic tanks, the long-term effect is that it actually makes the plastic fail. We're seeing that a lot recently, probably because of the composite makeup of the tanks isn't what it used to be, but we're definitely seeing that as an issue. I would say it's the tank blew out. Sure enough, right there. Tank has ruptured. So is that a pressure problem? We have an excess buildup of pressure. It's very possible. I work on enough of these. I actually had a radiator in stock, so I'm going to switch it out. I'll get the one that was in here warranted by the parts supplier. Cooler lines hooked. And if they're not engaged all the way, they will pop out and create a completely different set of problems. I always check to make sure all 3 of my clip ears are fully engaged on the back side. One is not. right where it needs to be. Gonna end up fighting with one clip for like an hour. I kind of miss the old days of the ones that just screwed in. They were a lot easier to service. I'm sure these are much faster to do on the assembly line. It's not about service after the fact. Really frustrating when you have something simple to fight you for the entire process. What I'm dealing with here is the clip won't go in. There's 3 little ears that have to engage this so that the quick release doesn't pop back out, and it's sticking out just enough that I can't get the positive assurance retainer back on it, because these should just pop on by hand, and it's not allowing me to do that. So I think I'm going to change the metal clip out for a different one that I have sitting here, and we'll see if it clips better. I guess it's the clip. So I save these clips oftentimes when I take the GM ones off. You can see there's ever so slightly different profile to it. And that one looks bigger, which is what's keeping me from putting on my positive lock. So it was probably engaged okay, but I'm going to be picky. Pops on just like it's supposed to. So we'll put that clip in the garbage. So now we put on our lower hose, and then our lower shroud, then our fan, then our upper shroud. We should be ready to fill it up with some water and see if we need to do head gaskets on this. I don't think we're going to need to do head gaskets. I hope we don't have to do head gaskets on it, because it's really not a fun job. These trucks, but I've certainly done my share of it. Who's calling here on a Sunday? We're closed. The guys will do this job and take this fan shroud out and leave it out. I don't recommend doing that. There for a reason. GM wouldn't put it in here if it wasn't needed. When you put these fans back on, you don't need to put them on tight. They just need to be snug. They actually self-tighten, technically. But if you don't tighten them just a little snug, they can unwind themselves after they stop sometimes. Only seen that happen twice. But shroud. I'll be ready to put some fluid in this thing. See if we're on the road to recovery. Alright, not too serious of an operation. I'm going to go ahead and put a new radiator cap on it, because a radiator cap not relieving pressure could cause that problem. But we will see here in just a minute if we've got a geyser coming out of our radiator once this thing gets warm. It definitely has an intake manifold gasket that needs replaced. It looks to be the original, and they were known to fail under warranty in the first 2 years. So I'll say that needs done. Might have the original water pump on it as well. That's got a snowflake on it, so that's probably the original water pump as well. So being 21 years old, we'll probably recommend that as a replacement as well. AC charge below. Muddy water. That's what it does. Well, I'm going to run this thing down a rave real quick, see what we see if it overheats, see if it kicks the coolant out of it. I don't know. We'll see. Well, the good news is it doesn't appear to be misfiring or have a blown head gasket. It doesn't appear to be overpressurizing the cooling system. I'm going to have my parts retailer, my parts supplier, warranty the radiator. That'll be no charge for the customer. I'm going to talk to him about an intake manifold gasket reseal and a heater core. This thing has very substandard heat coming out of the dash, so, and the hoses aren't getting hot, so more than likely it's a flow problem. As bad as this cooling system was sludged up when it came in here the last time, I'm not surprised it needs a heater core. But we'll see if we can back flush it. I'm going to probably put some flush into the system and try and clean it up as much as I can. And then we will move forward and see what the customer wants to do. I know this isn't real exciting stuff. It's a 20-year-old truck and essentially regular maintenance, but this one was a radiator we put in over 1.5 years ago. I'm covering it under warranty because we have a parts supplier that gives us excellent parts. Sometimes they fail. It's the first radiator I've had pop in several years, so hopefully it's just a isolated incident. It doesn't appear to be a byproduct of a problem on the vehicle. I did go ahead and put a new radiator cap on it, as the old radiator cap could be overpressurizing the system, and that could have actually caused the radiator, but we'll figure that out. I may actually test that cap, see if it is relieving pressure at 16 psi or if it's more like 20, which is a lot. Anyway, thanks for watching. Click like, subscribe, leave us a comment below. I do have a few projects that I'm getting ready to start, and I have a few projects I am really close to finishing, so I'm trying to get that Barracuda wrapped up here in the next week. So unfortunately I have a bunch of other distractions that are eating up my time at my rental properties, so I'm going to be focusing on those to get those done to make sure my tenants are happy so they pay the rent. And then I got to get down here and get my projects done for people so that they can go enjoy their cars. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. We'll see you on the next one.